life, all I had was family, a ball, and a dream. And I'm thankful for all this game has given me. Fame, fortune, stardom, greatness, even defeat. Because every loss is a lesson, and every lesson is a blessing. I've had many blessings, but now I'm healthy, focused, ready to give all myself to this game. For my team, for my family, and for every fan who's ever supported me.
Derrick Rose saved the game! 50 points for Derrick Rose!
I'm D. Rose. I'm Hogan.
Welcome to the 10th episode of the Let's Talk It Out podcast. What you just heard was an insert or a graphic from ESPN about Derrick Rose's return to basketball. Pretty much, he said he's at a prestige level again. Derrick Rose has sacrificed a lot over the years because of injuries to get to that level again. And I'm very happy for him as a Chicago Bulls fan, but also as a fan of him as a player, for him to be able to reach that level again. It's nothing short of miraculous that he was able to overcome the injuries that he had. So many injuries, so many recoveries, so many times that he could just decide to lay over and not come back. But he willed in his mind that he would not be that person and not work hard to come back. And it's just truly incredible that he's able to do that. Sacrifice. The willingness to put in those hours, the put aside other things to work towards something else. You're sacrificing. And that's exactly what Derrick Rose did. So before I go too far into my show about sacrifices and transitions, I would like to give a shout out to my boy Dan. My boy Dan tagged me or something on Instagram. Dan Finland. He said, they posted a before and after picture. Left picture was August 1st. This is 4 months of progress. I know it doesn't look like I've made a big difference in 4 months, but what these pictures don't show is all the hard work I put in, all the strength I've gained both mentally and physically. I know what these small differences are, and I feel like I'm a completely new person. He shouted out a good friend of the show, Christian Rush, for hitting the gym with him almost every day this past year and keeping on track. And he gave me a shout out for not only helping him, but helping others with this show, the Let's Talk It Out show. He gave the Let's Talk It Out show a shout out, and I thank Dan a lot, because Dan's one of my good friends. He's not just a follower of me. I've known Dan for years. We've hung out for years. We reached out to each other, had conversations for years. Dan's a really good guy. And with that being said, I would like to announce something that I would like to start doing with the Let's Talk It Out show. Me and my good friend Zach, the guy who helps with all the production and the promos and everything else, we decided we wanted to start a hashtag on social media called Stump the Stigma. And Stomp the Stigma, the whole purpose of this hashtag is for us to collectively, as a group of people, as a community, to help others with the ways we deal with certain things that mentally that we encounter every day. So you'll type out Stomp the Stigma, and I'm going to put it in the chat room, and then you'll put something that you've been dealing with and how you're coping with it. And everyone will, they'll search that stigma, search that hashtag, and they'll pop up for them. They'll be able to see what they're going through, see what you're going through, and also see if you guys are able to help each other out. So that, for me, I think that's a great idea. And we've had this conversation before, me and my boy Zach. So with that being said, I'm not alone tonight. I am accompanied by probably the person that knows me the best out of everybody that probably knows me. This person is very special to me for obvious reasons. She has a lot of accolades. She's a former teacher, yoga instructor, Pilates, sheriff. I mean, Jesus. The only thing she probably hasn't done yet is been to the moon, and I wouldn't be the bit surprised if that actually happened in the future. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce my mom, also known as buying Lifschultz to everybody else.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Alex. Thanks, Third. That was funny. That's so funny that you said that because I have done a lot of things in life, not without the sacrifices of those things. But I want to say hello, everyone out there that's listening. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it, and we're thankful that you are receiving the truth and you're getting your healing, and that's the most important thing when we're sharing our struggles and our strengths and our healings. What I believe that whatever God reveals, He heals. That's one of the catchphrases I use. But it's so funny you said that because I have been a few things in life: um, mother, pastor, teacher, instructor, yoga instructor, Pilates, aqua aerobics, kickboxing, personal trainer, but also a sheriff. It's so funny in two places, in Chicago now, here where I relocated in Nashville. But the most important thing I've ever done in my life, I believe, one of the single most important things I've ever done in my life is being a mother. Being a mother is extremely important to me, and being family is everything to me. God first, and then family second. I've always taught my children that, and they've always known they've been a priority for me. So as a mom and understanding sacrifice, any mom that's a mother know what sacrifice is. Anybody that have had children understand what sacrifice is. Sacrificing is giving up something that you want for a greater good. Mike Murdoch, who's a famous author, always talking about what it is to be a champion. One of his champion phrases is, a champion is willing to do something they hate in order to receive something they love in the end. So that to me is sacrifice.
We have
As I
we
had,
have a lot of people
I'm sorry.
chiming in, Mom, right now. They got the chat room. Everybody's saying, "Hey, Mom."
Hello,
Justin says,
everyone.
"Hey, Mom, on the show. This is gonna be good." Ashley Sutter said she sent out the ears because she's listening hard. CB fan said, "Hey, Mom, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree." Everybody's fired up that you're actually on the show. And it's kind of bad that you're on the show because now a lot of the interaction in the chat room ain't gonna be the same. I think you were the person that interacted the most in the chat room. CB fan was up there. CB fans up there with you too. Um,
That's funny.
oh hey, Heidi's in here now. It's a lot of people
Cool.
are definitely fired up to listen to you talk.
I'm
Um,
glad. I'm glad.
so
That's awesome. I'm glad they're faithful and they're faithful listeners and they're committed. That's awesome. That says a lot to me. I just want to go on to say yes. I I don't know if Third ever told everybody, but he has four siblings. I have two sisters and two brothers, so I have five children. And anybody that know anything know when you have five children, you're going to have a great sacrifice. And they're not too far apart. Alec and his oldest are 18 months apart. His brother are 3 years apart. And his brother to his sister 3 years apart. And the two younger ones are only 2 years apart. So there was a lot of babies all at once. But um, their dad and I decided I would be a stay-at-home mom. We sacrificed my career for me to stay home with my children. And I thought that was worth everything because, again, my children are the most important things in the world to me. And that sacrifice was not a big, it was, to me, it was a willing sacrifice. But also, what a lot of people know is each child that I've had, and I don't know if this is even popular anymore, I nurse every one of my children. And to some people, to a mom, they'll understand that. That means there's bonding that happens, there's nurturing that happens, there's security, a security blanket, and there's an assurance for children when you bond with them in that way. So that was very important to me for my children, even when it meant getting up every 2 hours to feed them. And I think Third was probably the biggest eater. Every hour and a half to 2 hours, he fed. But as the children grew up, excuse me, again, there's still the transition as they're growing up. And at each one of them, we're having children very rapidly because we believe we wanted the larger family. My children also we decided I would stay home with them. I would be a stay-at-home mom. So, like I said, I sacrificed my career, but not only did we didn't stop there, we decided that I'll be a stay-at-home mom, but I'll also homeschool my children. I don't know if anybody else ever shared it with
yeah,
the
that's
world.
that's a well kept. I
Secret.
actually never really got to bring that up. I was homeschooled up to seventh grade. But I
Yes.
wasn't like one of those awkward kids when I went to school because
No.
I'm very popular because I always played basketball with everybody and I was always outside.
Hmm.
Now,
Exactly.
One thing I want to bring this up too. My mom just celebrated her 52nd birthday yesterday.
Yes, I
So
did.
it's kind of like I feel like because last week Joa's birthday was the next day. Her birthday was Friday, and earlier in the show, Kia's birthday was the next day as well after she came on as a
Oh,
guest. So
wow.
it's like there's always a reoccurring with people's birthday. I guess my present to a lot of people is
Awesome.
letting them be a guest on the show. I don't know. That I think it's like something connected with that because every time
That's awesome.
someone's birthday is around the time that they come onto the show.
That's awesome. Birthdays mean transition. Speaking of next word, transition. You're transitioning from one place to another, going from 51 to 52. I think I begin each time
The whole chat room is saying happy birthday to you. You literally just got like
Thank
three or four
you.
messages saying happy birthday, just like consecutively.
Thank you, everyone.
Um,
I appreciate it. I'm grateful. I'm just thankful.
yeah, I mean the I didn't plan it out though. Like it's crazy to think. I randomly just thought about the fact that literally your birthday was yesterday, Joel's birthday was the next day, and so is Kia's. It seems like every time someone comes on, it's someone's birthday. So
And I think people are just fired up around their birthday.
One thing I said, I posted this about my mom 4 years ago. I said she's always stood through any life complications that were thrown her way. And by doing that in itself takes a lot of sacrifice. I said she showed me that there isn't anything that you can't overcome by example. Again, sacrifice. She selfishly put me and my siblings' needs over her own time after time. Again, sacrifice. I'm forever grateful to have someone set such a great example over my life. This is something I wrote out a few years back, but it's still very relevant to this day because there's no victory truly without sacrifice.
Absolutely not. There's no growth, no victory, no development. There's no overcoming without the sacrifice. That's awesome. You share that with them, and I wanted to share this. And it's funny, just the point of the homeschool thing. My children, when I homeschool 5 different ones, but I will always tell them this: failure is not an option. Their dad was a Marine, so I got that kind of military background, and I always tell them this: you're going to succeed. The trademark we always spoke on is that we love you, you are accepted, you're going to make it, and you're destined for greatness. My children heard that most of their lives, probably all their lives, and continue to hear that to this day. But as they were homeschooled, I want to use this as an example. I would homeschool them, and to me, you can never get a grade less than a B. I know that sounds kind of tough, but to me, when they took a test, they got a C. They had to take it again until they got a B, because to me, when you homeschool, it was more important to me for them to get the concept of what I was teaching than to actually get the grade. So once they got the concept, I knew they had it. So, and the sacrifices was, okay, we're going to do this again. We're going to sacrifice time spent, time where we could be doing something else, but I want you to get this. I want you to have no holes in this area. We took it very serious. We got up every morning. I got up at 6:30, got up at 7 o'clock. They ate breakfast. We got to homeschool. We homeschooled like 12 o'clock. We went out to play. We had a gym part. And my children were always able to participate in basketball, football, baseball, church, Awana. They played on a driveway. They had bikes. They had basketball rims on the court. We had all the kids in the neighborhood at our house, and we would easily have a pot of hot dogs going where the kids that come to the house and they'll eat too. Or we'll do a Bible study, or I'm reading to my children. They always like me to read to them great Bible stories. And the other children of the neighborhood would come into the garage, and they would sit and listen as well. I will always feed them. They were always welcome. My house was the house on the block that everybody knew they were welcome, with certain stipulations. These certain rules that come to my house: you respect yourself, you respect us, there will be no cursing, be no fighting, you'll get along, and you're always welcome. So I always put a demand on people, always made people believe they can be, and they are better than they realized they were. And I think that's really important as a parent to remind a child who they are. You're constantly speaking truth over them. You're constantly speaking life over them. You're constantly telling them and encouraging who they are, even when they don't realize. Even now in dark times, sometimes as parents, we have to show them where the light is again. Okay, honey, son, you're going through a transitional period right now. And to me, let's talk about the transition. Transition to me is like taking 2 cups of water, taking 1 cup of water and 1 empty cup. And you take a cup and you pour 1 cup into the other cup. At a point in that cup being poured into that other glass, there's a place where it's not in either cup. It's like suspended in midair. And that's what transition feels like. It's an awkwardness. It's a strangeness. It's where I'm not in a container. But it's a good place to be because you're growing, you're maturing, you're developing, you're becoming something else. And you're getting greater than what you were. Ordinarily, I would always tell my children, if you don't know how to do something, if you don't have an answer to something, this thing doesn't already have an answer to it. If it doesn't exist, then you need to create it. Create the way to make this happen. So again, failure has never been an option. I don't know. Anna's chiming in and calling me right now. I don't think I can answer because I can't. So I'm gonna disconnect you, right?
No,
so I'm gonna not
you cannot answer right now at all.
Okay.
You're
So
going to have to sacrifice
hopefully...
talking to Anna to
Okay.
And by the way, fun fact of the show, if anybody's new, Anna was also a guest on the show. Anna came on for episode number 4 of the show.
Right, she sure did. It was a good show too.
Anna was a very good guest, and I plan on having her back really soon.
So. She keeps calling me. I hope she's okay. Can I text her? But it's okay. We're gonna keep going. I'll call her in a minute. Anna, if you're chiming in, I'll call you back in a little bit, sweetie. So that's what we're talking about. And I guess one of the things I've always talked to my children, I've always been there, probably one of their bigger advocates and bigger cheerleaders. I've always believed that when you raise children, yes, they need to be loved and encouraged. They need to be disciplined and corrected. And they need to have guidance and direction. And as a parent, it's up to you to be the more mature person. You can't teach a child how to develop into maturity if you're being immature yourself. So there's a demand on us as parents to continue to mature as a person. So I think we're always becoming. So no one's ever you're not who you were last year. You're somebody different now. So as you're growing and developing, coming and changing into that person that you desire to be in life, there's always a continuance. There's always a development. There's always a growth. There's always a level of excellence of becoming who you are. But understanding becoming, I'm going to chime in with this becoming book because Michelle Obama wrote this book, and I love the title. And I'm going to read a small portion of what the book is about. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but just this part right here. And I want to say that she lived like right by my house when I grew up. I just want to throw that out there. It says, even when it's not, okay, hold on. She says, there's a lot still that I don't know about America, about life, about what the future might bring. But I do know myself. My father, Frazier, taught me to work hard, laugh often, and keep my word. My mother, Marion, showed me how to think for myself and to use my voice. Together in our cramped apartment on the south side of Chicago, they helped me see the value in our story, in my story, and the larger story of our country. When it's not pretty or perfect, even when it's more real than you want it to be, your story is what you have, what you will always have. It is something to own. So each one of us have a story. And that story is becoming. So the thing is embracing that story, embracing who you are, accepting who you are. And sometimes life happens. That's just reality. I always tell my children, when you have lemons, you can make lemonade. You can either suck on the lemons or you can make lemonade with the lemons by adding a little sweetness in there and turn it into something good.
When did you ever tell me that?
I'm sure I said it.
I want to know because you never told me to suck on no damn lemons before.
That's the whole point. I told you to make lemonade.
That's a little absurd.
The whole
man.
point is
don't chat room. That's not true. That's a false statement.
I mean, but the whole thing.
So the chat room is thoroughly agreeing with you. They're saying that you're dropping gems. Harp says, involve parents to teach life lessons are invaluable for children. He's most fortunate he has such parents.
That's
Ashley
awesome.
says, I always try to prepare my girl for the next stage in life and challenging her. And she said Anna was great too. Talking about Anna as a guest. The wisdom is flowing from mom. Justin said you're dropping gems. Wow. Peruchik says beautiful words and beautiful truth by her mom. She's preaching hard. And CB fan said mom definitely bringing her A game. The A game. So they're holding down the chat room for you. Typically you're in the chat room dominating, but right now they seem like they're holding it down for you just fine.
Funny. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you guys for all your encouragement and that good energy. Having that positive energy is awesome. I love it. I was asking Third about my voices. I've been speaking all day. I do recruitment, but I'm going to go into something that I did share with them when they were growing up, and because I know we all have tough days, we all need words of encouragement, we all need to be built up, we all need to have a support group or a network of people that we know that we can rely on when we're having tough days, and also be accountable to. And our family try to look for, that support group is within us or within your family or your friends. You have really close friends. There's somebody you're going to be connected with is there to help hold your hands up when you feel like you want to let them down.
Sorry to cut you off. Sorry to cut you off one more time, Mom. But CB fan says, "Mom, we miss you in the chat room." they miss you in the chat room. It's not the same without you there.
I'm sorry. I'll be back next week. That's for sure. Every week. I would tell my children every day, when Third and them were growing up again, they had to have quiet time. That was reflective time where they could restore.
I used to hate quiet time so much, man. It was just.
But it was a time of restoring.
We're kids, like we're young boys, so it was too damn peaceful. It was.
Well, yeah,
we like running around and busting our heads and eating dirt and throwing worms at people. We didn't like sitting down and not making noise. So.
But it was the time we would have a whole day around 2:00 every day. We'll have quiet times. Quiet time was also a form of disciplining yourself and calming your spirit. That was necessary as well. So I know a lot of things we've done. And Third is funny, but now Third take naps if he's home for that quiet time. Quiet time is very important. When I was speaking to Third about sacrifice, I was speaking to him about transitions and understanding that. I began to think about
funny as hell. She talking about quiet time did suck. She in the chat room talking about quiet time did suck.
Now she's in chat. Actually, I wonder what she wanted, but anyway, it's not that bad. Quiet time was a wonderful time for me also to get you guys down and have.
Quiet time was from the Satan himself.
Well, what they were really supposed to be doing is reading Proverbs when they were doing quiet time. You guys were supposed to be continuously growing your wisdom.
CB fan, it wasn't like meditation. It was like, okay. We got five kids, so all y'all about to sit y'all ass on the bed and not move and stay in there for about 15
for an hour.
It was an hour?
An hour.
Damn.
Yeah.
No wonder why I felt like it was so. No wonder it felt like it was so long. It was long.
But you got to remember something. You guys got up.
We were 7 years. I was 7 years old. You think I want to sit down for an hour?
But you know what? You need to restore because you also there was a lot of activity you guys had in your life. So I was really just trying to replenish your energies because you had basketball, you had flag football, you played what was glider, you rode bikes. There was you have to have the time to restore, and that's what I was about to go into at that point. We all need that time of revitalization, refreshing, restoring, and renewing in our lives. And I always look at those things as the 4 seasons that we go through in life. Life is like the seasons that we actually experience, although Chicago seasons are sporadic and bipolar because it comes and goes when we want to. But even our life are like that sometimes. It's not always so uniform. We have spring, we have summer, we have fall, and we have winter. And each one of those seasons bring with it a new something. Spring is always newness. It's seeds budding. Baby birds are born. Most animals are born in the spring. That's when blades of grass are coming up out of the ground. The leaves are budding on the trees. So it brings a renewal, a refreshing, or revitalization. And then we go into the summer, and it's bursting with life and energy, and it is vitalizing. It's fun. We have so much energy. We have sunlight. It's just the time of exuberance and excited and having to enjoy all that springtime labor and bringing it to fruition. And it's just a wonderful time of the year because we have more sunlight, we have vitamin D, we have more energies, we're all excited. Everybody's happy in the summertime. But then fall comes. There's
a thing that's known as seasonal depression.
It is.
When it gets cold outside and it gets a little reckless and you start thinking about. And also because of the holidays, a lot of people have a hard time around the holidays because they lost loved ones, and certain things that you used to enjoy isn't the same. So seasonal depression is a really big thing, especially
in the fall.
That's fall, but winter time for sure. Winter is when it really kicks in. In summer, like you said, everything's a lot more happier. Everything's more upbeat. And I wanted to say something about transition. Like a lot of times, people transition to new things in their life, such as new careers. They move somewhere, new job, having children for the first time. Like, there's anxiety, and there's definitely anxiety because it's something new. It's something that you're not used to. And that's normal.
Yes,
A lot of people need to realize
it
that that's
is.
normal for you to have anxiety about it, because as human beings, we become accustomed and used to things in our life. So when something different comes, it's an uncomfortable feeling.
It
You
is.
know, even a lot of professional athletes have anxiety and stuff before the game. It's just, it's not a new experience per se, but it's like it's something that it's different before. Like it's always, and it's a new game. It's not something that they haven't done before, but it's a new game. You can have a new outcome, so they're a little anxious about it. But a lot of people they use that little feeling of anxiety to fire them up.
Right. And
You
then
fire them up,
a great thing
and it helps you transition better. I'm sorry, go ahead.
it does. Another thing you do those anxiety points is just self-talk, encouraging yourself. I can do this. I'm going to get through this. It's going to be good. We're going to have a great time. Just having self-talk. Even when I speak, I like the motivational speak. I like to speak before audience, and each time I speak, many times I've done it, I get this butterfly feeling in my stomach, is what it's called. It's a nervousness in the stomach, because you're still, as human beings, we're so used to being accustomed to what we know. You go into a place of unknown, and you don't know what to expect. But preparing for those things, making preparations, planning, having your data that you need, having yourself prepared for those things always help. And yeah, having a new baby each time is it's exciting. It can cause anxiety. You're going into, again, another place you've never gone before, an unknown. So it's kind of good to have yourself a coping mechanism, or a good self-talk, have somebody that's been there before that can tell you the ropes or mentor you through these things. That's always a good way. Have somebody you speak to that's soothing. The voice of a mother is usually soothing to a child. It releases
It depends,
oxytocin.
because sometimes your voice used to not be soothing when you used to be mad.
Well, it's when I'm mad, but usually when you're about to have
It wasn't very soothing at certain times.
well, when that was corrective.
I thoroughly
Of
remember.
course, I mean,
Anna said quiet time is good now. She loves quiet time
oh
now for
yeah.
sure. Harp says
So
Harp says quiet time was being in bed by 10 p.m. on school days. Heidi said my mom used to paint our nails and put mascara on. We would sit still without moving or crying for an hour. Yeah, okay. CB said I'm funny because I put in the chat room. I said I'm trying not to curse because I can't really be disrespectful around my mom.
Thank you.
Harp says summer on the other hand, midnights or later. Yeah, summer you stay up later because it's like they don't get darker till later. And you have more energy because of the heat.
You do the sunlight.
CB fan agrees with me when he says a lot of folks are depressed over Christmas. It's usually loneliness around Christmas time.
There he is.
Harp says have to use anxiety in a healthy way, live and learn. That's exactly what I was talking about when I said when you transition to something new. It's normal. It's normal to feel uncomfortable and unsure about it because it's something different. It's something that you never experienced before.
It absolutely is. And then chiming back in on the holidays and losing a loved one, I lost one of my sisters about 3 years ago, and it was the first holiday, the first Christmas, the first Easter, the first everything. The first year was very difficult for my family as a whole because we had a loved one we lost, but the way we dealt with, we all grieved differently, and we respected the way each one of us chose to grieve, and we supported each other, and we always acknowledged her and her beauty and what she experienced as we come together as a family, as a unit. We will always acknowledge who she was to us and how we loved her. So the memories of the people, although we lose the people, the memories of those people are going to always be with us, and we're going to always have those. And I think that's what keeps their spirit alive, and it keeps them alive with us, because there's a part of them that's going to always be with us, the influence, the laughter, the joys, the pains, the growing up, the sharing experiences. So, yes, not having your loved one is a very difficult thing, especially the first time. But I believe a lot of times we really sat back and thought about our loved ones. They will want us to continue to, although they're gone, they will still want us to continue to live on and live life to the fullest. And that would be one of their wishes. And I think if we got the necessary therapy, going through the grieving counseling, go through the 5 stages of grieving, and it's perfectly okay to revisit those places and then have someone that comes alongside you that you can speak to, you can talk to, you can revisit those things, and it's okay to have that and come through and cope with that. But also remembering that person for who they are. They're your loved ones. You're going to always miss them, but they're valuable, they're special, and they're always going to be a part of your family. That memory is going to always be there, but it can be positive because you can always remember what made them laugh, what they joked about, what made them happy. You can bring them back alive with the memories that you have. So
I was
the thing.
I'm sorry to cut you off, Mom, but you just brought up what I said last week when I was talking about learning to let go. Now, when you let go of loved ones, you're not forgetting the memory. You're forgetting the sorrow from them not being here. You're not gonna forget the memory of them. I also said that I've never heard of anyone saying, "I want you to be sad that I'm dead forever. I don't want you to move on. I want you to feel that grieving." No, they always say, "I want you to live a happy life, and I want you to be think about the good times we have together. Don't think about the fact that I'm leaving right now. I want you to be happy. I want you to live your life in a well-adjusted way. I don't want you to be hurt forever that I'm not here no more." So that's
and that's it.
That's just a powerful thing to think about for sure.
So you can exchange the sorrow for joy. You can exchange the sadness for happiness. You can exchange for the losing them for memories that you have of them always that'll be in your heart. So those things are how I coped and I cope with around the holidays. That this person was always full of life. This person always enjoyed life. This person always tried to find ways to enjoy life. So she would want me to have the same things. And in her memory, that's what we'll do. We'll still celebrate. It's a celebration of life. So I think going back to the seasons, fall is restoring, and in wintertime, there's things that die. It has to go back into the ground, and the seeds are planted back in to bring forth new life when the spring come again. So that is a time of dullness and sadness and depression. The days are shorter. So winter is tough for everyone, especially when you have seasonal depression. It's cold. Nobody wants to go outside. It's snow. The ground is yucky. You got to put all the stuff on. But you know what? Every season of life has its reasons. And some things in our lives we have to allow to die, go into the ground, and bring forth new life. So that's underneath all that snow, those seeds that's going to come back out in the springtime is going to burst forth again with new life, so we can anticipate new life is coming. There is a greater life. You just stick. God is not done. Life is not over. Just anticipate the joys that's coming next, and just find a way to cope with it. Having a book club, or going to the gym more, or having a hobby, or going to the movies more often, or playing games with your loved ones, having game day, doing indoor things is very effective. I like reading the book. My birthday is in the wintertime, so I kind of adapt and adjust to winter pretty good. But yesterday for my birthday, most people probably want to go out and go to a party or do this. All I wanted to do is get this book, sit down in my chair, do a spa on my feet, and enjoy a good read, because I thought it would be so awesome. Because becoming, to me, the title of this book is Becoming is just that. No one's ever fully arrived to where they're going to be in life as long as you're living. We're always in a continuum, a momentum, a transition. There are sacrifices. It's a cycle over and over again, but you're greater than what you used to be. You're making tracks. As long as you keep moving, keep choosing to become a better person than we were yesterday. No one on this earth ever has it all. Nobody has all the answers, and that's the assurance of being a human being. The other night I was talking about earlier, the most successful people are the ones that fail the most. So people only hear about their successes. They never hear about the thousands and thousands of failures that they've had before they became successful. So myself, I like to read about the failures because it reminds us that we're human beings, and when I fail, I can still get back up and try again and never relent.
Can I give a little bit of a story? First of all, I want to read a bit of the chat room. The chat room is on fire. So Lovely K says, "The best advice my mom has ever given me is to never give up. She believes when one door shuts, another door opens. Always move forward." Peru Chick says, "What you tell yourself every day will either lift you up or tear you down." That's true. Yes. Heidi says, "Our minds are really powerful for good and for bad." Harp says everyone grieves differently. Stacy just jumped inside the chat room. She says, "Good evening to everybody." Going down. CB fan says mom is firing up the chat room. And Lovely K says when someone you love becomes a memory, that memory becomes a treasure. And that's so fucking true.
Yes. Yes. There we go.
She said, I'm more indifferent. I have yet to let my brother go as hard. I still celebrate his birthday yearly as if he was here on earth. Yet to. Things like that take time, though. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Harp says, my parents are both deceased, but their lessons and voice are instilled in myself on an everyday basis. They're guiding.
Yeah.
CB fan says, spirits lives on forever, but losing people from suicide sucks. So, with that being said, what my mom was talking about as far as failing goes, Earlier this year, I was laid off my job, and while I was laid off my job, man, it was hard. It was very hard for me. I applied to multiple jobs, had interviews, and I just kept getting turned down, man. I kept getting turned down. I went a while, months without having a job, and it was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life. And it's very hard to just keep getting turned down. That's why I said all those failures. I always tell people, I'm sorry, Mom, it's my show. You can mute your mic or take the headphone out. But fuck that. Don't fucking give up, because I didn't give up. It was hard for me. And, I was very depressed about it. It was so hard for me to just not be able to find work. And eventually I did get hired by a company that brought me in, and it's good for me. It's actually a better way, because I'm able to, it's a lot more freedom. I'm able to communicate more with people and stuff like that. But the failure, it made me a lot more grateful for where I am now. The failure made that success worth more. That feeling, that feeling of failure, just like I didn't accept it. I could have just folded up and just say, you know what, fuck it. I never accepted it. I always took it as, you know what, this isn't for me, so let me go find something that is for me. That's how I always took it. And it's hard to take it that way, but it's one of the most mature things I've done. And it's, like I said, everything I've ever told you guys on every episode is something. I'm not just making that shit up. I'm not reading that from a newspaper or something like that. It's either I experienced it or it's something I'm dealing with currently. Or the guest has experienced it and they're dealing with it currently. I like genuine, I just wanted to you guys just feel it from someone that's being authentic, because you could tell when someone's not being authentic.
Absolutely.
That saying, all those failures, that success overcomes all those failures. That's the realest shit I've ever heard in my life, because that's true.
Yes, absolutely. And it also builds you up. It builds character. It builds tenacity. It builds resilience. It builds maturity. And those things in life that come to tear us down, it says that it's intended for. There's a story in the Bible where Joseph said, what you intended for evil, God has made into good to save many. And your failures may not just be because of who you are, just on you. It may be your drop back to be able to grow up, become greater for somebody else. And that's the greater good in that, because your story you can share with somebody else that has set them free. Don't give up, man. Stay with it. Don't lose heart. Something's going to come through. I went through this. It's going to be okay. I can remember when your dad and I first decided, I'm going to be transparent right now. Your dad and I decided to be divorced, which is fine. We're good friends now. And at the point in which we divorced, in the process of divorce, I also lost my job. So I was a single parent with 5 kids and no job, laid off. And I didn't see the layoff coming. It was one of those things where, you're laid off. So 5 kids, no job, stay-at-home mom before I had to get to work. I decided to go back to school after that and reinvent myself. Sometimes those things in life that come, we think it destroys, always to come to make us stronger and to direct us to a place where we didn't think we could ever be. I never would have thought I would be going into the field of study that I went into. But a lot of times you embrace that and you move on and you grow from it. I went back to school. I became a personal trainer. I got a job. I had 4 jobs in one time. That worked out great. And then I wanted to get a better job. I ended up working for the Cook County Sheriff Office Department. And I had great benefits, great run, was no problem. Everything transitioned well. So in my failures, I'm thinking if I never would have been fired from that job, laid off from that job, I couldn't become the person I am today. I probably still have been stuck in a rut in that job. And I wasn't very happy in that job. So it's probably the best thing that happened to me. But we become familiar and comfortable with what we have, even if it's not good for us. So we have to be willing to let go. Because let's talk about what insanity is. I got to chime this in. Insanity is to do everything, do the same thing over and over again, thinking you're going to get a different result. You've got to choose to do something different if you want something different in your life so you don't go crazy. And I think a lot of times we wake up hoping and wishing this thing's going to get better. No, that circumstance won't get better. You have to get better. You have to change your circumstance by making different decisions and getting yourself out of this situation, get yourself into a better place. And that's okay to do that. Again, reinvent yourself. If you're doing a job you don't like, I don't really like this. Let me go back to school to get a certification. Let me study this. Let me try this. And you get yourself skilled and trained to do it. And I've done that, obviously, a gazillion times. I was a stay-at-home mom for 14 years who homeschooled her children. No one ever would have known that I can be a officer of the law carrying a gun and able to protect people. I mean, come on. I was a nice little nurturing mom who was soft-spoken and nurturing my children, all the children in the neighborhood. But you know what? Inside of you, inside of each one of us, there's a creation. God has given us the ability to create because He is the creator. And if we tap into that, we can also create things too that we want in life. So if you don't like something, then you do something about it. You never take failure as your outcome. You find a way to make a success what you embrace and you go after it.
Mom, you're on fire right now. Stacy said something that I really like to bring into light. She says, "My dad is in stage 4 cancer and is destroying me. Though in remission for 18 months, he's doing great. My mom has Parkinson's and has had a hip replacement 4 weeks ago. And I check in every day about after my new job and help. And we are about to move into our home 20 months after a house fire. My anger, you just need to work out more and relax. Fuck you, win. Thank you for letting me do this. Don't mean to make it about me." Stacy, like I said inside the chat room, that's the whole purpose of this podcast. I want you and everyone else to feel comfortable enough to be willing to say exactly what's on your mind. You know, even if you don't feel like saying it inside of the chat room, if you want to just private message to somebody like me, that's the whole purpose of it. I want you guys, when you hold stuff in, that's how depression it creates itself inside you. That's the whole purpose of the show. That's literally why I brainstormed on the idea to make the show, is because I want everybody to feel comfortable enough to be able to say what they have to say. Peru Chick says, "Never let failure get to your heart. It will eat you up. We will learn from failure, not from success." Justin says, "Be transparent, be patient, and be persistent." And
absolutely,
that's definitely true.
Well, I'm sorry to hear about our parents.
I'm trying, Mom. You got a few more. Like the chat room's on fire right now. Ashley says, "Let it all out, Stacy. There you go. You can be pissed off sometimes. Yes, you can. You have every right to be upset right now." Zach says, "Mama Lifschultz is a real one."
Thanks, Zach. I love you, buddy.
I just want everybody,
buddy.
And Harp says exactly what I said in the chat room. I said, this is a community. This is a family. This mental health thing, we can't get through it alone. I created the show because I want us to have a community and a family. I want us all to be able to open up to each other and be able to talk. Just like I said.
Absolutely.
CB fan said, "Mom, you are super strong. Good for you." Ashley said, "You are in control of you." The chat room is on fire. Thank you, Trey. No, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for feeling comfortable enough to talk about what you have to say, Stacy.
Absolutely. We don't. That's being real. That's being transparent. That's owning your emotions. You're owning your emotions. You're owning your situation. You're owning, and that takes a real mature response. And there's no anger in itself is not evil. It's what we do with it. Anger is indicating that you don't like something that's not right at this moment, and at this time. It's not something that's good, and that's fine. Be angry, but sin not. The sin of it is holding on to it and letting it fester, become something that's going to make you to something you're not ever supposed to be. Okay, those circumstances happen. I'm sorry that happened. We'll keep you're there with your parents to help them out. Thank God that you're a daughter that's able to help them and aid them through this, because a lot of children are not there for their parents. And you're a blessing to their lives. It's unfortunate they're going through these things, and we're really extend our sorrow and our sympathy towards you and empathy, because my sister went through stage 4 cancer before we lost her. She didn't win the battle. We actually lost her. So I get where you're coming from. So getting with other people that's going through what you're going through, they can lift you guys and build you up and help you come through it. I mean, I thank God that you are a child that stays there and to aid and assist your parents. So you are there for them. And I'm sure although they're going through what they're going through, and they're physically maybe weakening, but I'm sure their spirits possibly is still really strong. Even the fact to have a child as loving as you are, Stacy, to be there to help them, that is a blessing. That's a treasure. That's tremendous. I commend you for that. Continue to deal with your emotions, what you're going through. Maybe if you need to speak to someone, maybe even get a therapist to help you walk through and deal with this. Sometimes therapy, behavioral health is necessary. That's how I got through the things again, I'm going to be transparent. As I transitioned through life, as I was divorcing my husband of 21 years and having my 5 kids and losing my job and trying to reinvent myself and trying to take care of my kids and make sure they ate, have them use the social services the way they really had to be used, had to get public aid. There are things that we hurt with and we go through that will make us into bitter people unless we take a hold of it and say, okay, fine, I'm going to get help. I can't deal with this or cope with this on my own. I'm going to go get help. I didn't have the resources, so I went to Governor State University and used their therapist, a counselor, for free, and she was a great counselor to help transition me through all these things. Even to the point my medical doctor put me on Xanax for a short period of time to deal with the anxiety and eventually weaned me off. So I understand and know what you go through, because when you lose your spouse of 21 years, when your children are looking at you and they need you and you have to be strong for them, but you're feeling weak, you have to get the help that you need to come out of that, the person that you want to be. I'm sure your parents, because of your strength, you're dealing with it, you're acknowledging it, you're owning those emotions. So you work through and you process those things and you continue to be a strength for them because that's what they need. And then you get the help that you need to be able to help them. Although hurt people hurt others, heal people heal others as well. That's the opposite truth to that as well. So yes, the situation is not a good situation through the whole thing. I get it. And every situation, we're never going to say that everything is hunky-dory, everything is going to be pleasant. In life, trials and tribulations will come. Things will come to test you. Things will come to destroy you. Things will come to break you down. But those who overcome have gone through something they had to overcome. And that's why it's called overcoming. So if you were my child, my sister, my niece, and my nephew, or whatever, I would say to you, you can talk to me. But if you feel like you need more extensive help, there are therapists that will help walk you through this. You can talk to about your anger and process and teach you coping ways to process those things. There are ways to set up services for your parents that will help them get through this transition themselves, as well as nursing. There's nursing and housekeepers or people that can come out and talk to them, and they can get therapy as well to help them on how to cope with this as well. And although these things happen to them, that doesn't make them any less of importance or their life any less of importance. It's valued no matter what. Those are your parents. You love them. They're going to always be your parents, and you're there for them. And I commend you for that. You are a good daughter. So that's a good thing.
She's definitely a rock star. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. The chat room is just, I'm trying to keep up with it. It's like you got it on fire right now. This is the most I've ever seen it be active. Lovely K says, I realize that if my thoughts immediately affect my body, I should be careful about what I think. Yeah, your mind is very powerful. So you could create illnesses. And that's why I always make fun of WebMD, because WebMD will say, you could say that your elbow hurts and they'll tell you that you got fucking elbow cancer or something like that. You know,
so funny.
But your mind, like go read those kind of things, your mind automatically starts creating that because you think it's true, and when you think it's true, that's what it's going to resonate physically for yourself. You know, you start feeling like that's true, and it's not most of the time. It's just these ideas from what you've seen in your mind and your imagination being so powerful. So
take over. Well, it says in the Bible, guard your heart with all diligence, because out of it flows the issue of life. So whatever you allow to get inside of there is what you're going to begin to believe. It's your belief system. So taking captive those thoughts that will try to take you someplace where you're not supposed to be and replace them with thoughts that where you should supposed to be. It's a transference. And I know it's not easy. Trust me, I have a job that tries me every day, and I'm learning to control my anger and not go there not to react, but respond to situations. But the Bible is very clear. And the condition of a heart is the condition of a heart determines the quality of life a person has. These are some notes that I wrote down. Guard your heart with all diligence, because out of it flows the issue of life. We are human, and the heart gets hurt, it gets broken, it gets injured, it gets disappointed, it gets distracted, it gets full of lust. Evil can enter, jealousy, envy, deception. Know the condition of your heart where it doesn't function properly, and get the healing that you need. It says, whatsoever a man thinketh in his heart, whatever he believes in heart, so is he. So whatever you believe about yourself is what you're going to be. So I always tell people this. I can always tell a person they respect themselves by the way they respect others. I can always tell a way a person think about themselves by the way they interact with others, because it all begins with you. You have to become the person that you desire, you want in your life, and you want to be. And that's it. I mean, to me, we all are human. We're going to all experience some things. It's not enough to just accept those things for what they are. You have the resources. You have a support group. You have accountability partners. You have people you can reach out to help guide you when you're weak, when you don't have a direction, to get some direction, to get some counselors, to get some resources that you need. I actually made a list of different resources. They have free counseling in the Chicagoland area. I have a list of plenty of places in all areas around Chicago that offer free counseling for people that want to just speak to people and get coping mechanism, or just get it out, or get a better way of dealing with the way they're handling things, which is very important. That's very important.
The chat room is trying to hold it down for you. They said we got to hold it down for Bonnie Lifschultz. Says she loves this community and she's here for all of us as well. CB fan said, "Tell her, you can do it. What you feel is cool. Let it out." And
absolutely.
Peru chick says, she says she's on her third glass of wine. Slow down a little bit, okay? It's a marathon. But she says your mom, she is full of wisdom and she loves you, CB fan says the mom has a chat room going 150 miles per hour. Keep motivating us. And the chat room is flying. Like I'm trying my best to keep up with everybody. I just really can't.
No, thank you guys. I'm just encouraged to know that
Zach said, man, she said you're killing it. He said you're killing it right now.
Love you, Zach.
I'm getting messages from everywhere. I'm trying my best to keep up with everybody. So like my mom, she's the perfect person to talk about sacrifice and transitions, because she's done it so many times, and just me being alive. That's not even to say for the 28 years. I've only been alive for 28 years, but even before I got here, the amount of sacrifices and transitions that she's had to make in order to be to where she is today is just truly incredible, because being a single mom and having 5 kids and doing whatever it takes for us to be able to have food on our plate every night, for us to be able to have a place to sleep at, that's just truly incredible. Like, and a lot of times, not even just single moms, single parents as well. Like, there are single fathers out there that hold it down for their kids. They work whatever hours they need to work. They do whatever it takes for them to be able to eat. And that's sacrifice, man. There's so much sacrifice that goes into that. And a lot of people don't talk about it. They don't talk about it. They don't bring it up. They just think it's normal for people to have to do that. It's just, you put your body through a lot. You put your mind through a lot to do that.
Yes, you do.
And right now we're at the 52-minute mark. We're damn near at an hour, man. It's like, I feel like this show could probably end up
really fast.
Could probably end up being 3 hours, but I'm not gonna do that to you guys tonight. I'm gonna let my mom say what she has to say though. I'm gonna be quiet.
I want to say this. Although you go through so many things in life, I pray and ask God to not allow my heart to become hardened, become bitter, or become resentful. To always keep my heart pliable, keep it tender, and keep it soft, because after you go through all these different things, you still have a life to live. After these things, you overcome these things. Because if you don't allow yourself to stay soft, pliable, and have a tender heart, all the things you've gone through is not worth it, because you're not going to enjoy the fruit of your labor or what you've gone through. It's not enough to run that race and at the end of that marathon, your knees don't work anymore. You have to rejoice in the victory. So as we've gone through these things, when they were little and I struggled and I went through and the kids went through college, I had to go become a correctional officer, my dream. People don't realize I had to give up being a personal trainer, group instructor, which is my dream job, and I loved it. And I went to become a correctional officer because it's a sacrifice I made to get my kids through school, and it's worth the while, because they have finished. One of them have graduated, the other one's on his way, and they're doing good things, and 30's good. They're all benefiting from my sacrifice, and I'm good with that, because I'm going to go back to what I did when I'm done with this career. So I wanted to be appreciative. I wanted to be thankful. I want to celebrate their accomplishments. And I know God showed me a long time ago that many things I have in my heart, I'm going to see that through my children. So I'm going to see it. But in seeing it, you have to appreciate it. You have to be grateful. You have to be tender. You have to rejoice in it. You have to always embrace it and love it. And if you don't allow your heart to stay tender and guard your heart, you're never going to be able to enjoy the fruit of your labor. So that's what I want to say. Although sacrifices come, although transitions come in life, hardness happen, but don't let your heart become hardened. Try to do everything you can and pray and ask God to keep your heart tender. Because when your life comes, as my life is coming to full fruition right now, and I'm going to throw this out here. Right now, I've moved down to Nashville. I've started a new career. I've started a new life. I'm getting married next year. I'm starting a new matrimony. So life is happening for me as well as it's happening for my children. So I'm enjoying my life. But if I would have allowed my heart to become hardened and cold, I would probably hate people. Not want to be bothered. Don't talk to people. Just think, I would have allowed my circumstances to deal with me and me not deal with them. If you don't deal with your demons, your angels will never be able to sing. So let your angels sing is what I'm going to leave this podcast with. Keep your hearts tender and let your angels sing so you can enjoy this life God has given us, which is so precious and so valuable. And I love.
So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to wrap it up a little bit. That was a very, very good conversation. I'd like to thank my mom for being to come on. A lot of people in the chat room are still going. Stacey was like, she's really appreciative of everybody reaching out and talking to her chat room. Has been really uplifting of her and her situation, because what she said was very brave for her just to come out like that.
Absolutely.
Stacey says she loves the show. And Harp says, thank you, Trey and Mom Lifschultz, for doing what you got to do. They say, great show as always. Thanks for having this stage for us to be on here and share our thoughts. And like I said before, if you have issues going on, or if you have something in your life that you feel like you can't deal with on your own, I'm always available for you to reach out to. And you can find me. Everybody knows my Twitter is Trey Bizzy. Same with Instagram. The Let's Talk It Out has a Facebook page, www.facebook.com/LITO podcast.
I got a list of resources if people want them for counseling that I can give to you. You can put it on the podcast, or you can do something with it.
Give me a few of them. I'm gonna type them inside the chat room real quick.
Okay, you want it online or you want to close it out? Mental health facilities in Chicagoland area, the free behavioral health Chicago area. There's like a list of them. Let me give it some. I'm pulling it up right now because I sent myself up. We have Community Counseling Centers of Chicago. That place is in Chicago. We have Roseland Neighborhood Health Center. We have Depression and Anxiety Specialty Clinic of Chicago. We have another Community Counseling Center of Chicago, which is located in a different area. We have the Pilsen Wellness Center. We have another Community Health Center. We have the Inglewood Mental Health Center. We have the Cornerstone Counseling Center of Chicago, Behavior Services Center, Balanced Life Counseling. We have the Chicago's Women's Health Center. We have Sela Residential. We have NAMA, NAMA is another mental health agency. Depression and Bipolar Support Alliance. We have Metropolitan Family Services. We have Community Health, Chicago Christian Counseling Center, Jessica Amelia, LCPC. I think that's going to people that's charged. Howard Brown Health Center, NAMI, that says NAMI Chicago. It's great. We have Thresholds. We have Advocate Family Care Network. We have Chicago Lakeshore Hospital, Circle Family Care, Turning Point. We have Unmoffitt Roseland Community Health Center. We have Unmoffitt Southeast Chicago Community Health Center. We have Gertson, GRSTEN Center for Behavioral Health. We have Insight Behavioral Health Centers, Couple Counseling Associates. I mean, it's like a vast array.
That's a very, very extensive list of places for people to get help from. So
I can send it to you. We can post it.
I'll make sure that people get it. Definitely. If they follow me on Twitter, I'll definitely post it if that's necessary for them to get it. So again, I would like to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. I would like to thank the guests for taking time out for coming in and having a conversation with us. I hope everybody has a great week, and I will definitely see you guys next week. We'll have Let's Talk It Out episode 11 next week.
Have a great night, everyone. Thanks for chiming in. Appreciate it.